What's up, yo? It's your boy Eve. Fight predictions in the building, and y'all already know I kind of messed up last week. I thought Biggie Boy and Augusta Sakai, the fight card was gonna be last week, so I ended up posting all my breakdowns. You guys can still check that out. I did do a breakdown yesterday on Sunday for Rosenstrike versus Augusta Sakai. But I thought, for this week, I don't really got a lot of content unless there's some breaking news coming out. I'm gonna give you guys some early predictions, some early breakdowns. I also will be doing a weigh-in show on Friday after the face-offs and the weigh-ins for Augusto Sakai versus Jorginho. So could be privy to that. But the early prediction we got here is gonna be, and obviously early breakdown, is Sean Brady versus Kevin Lee. This is something I didn't make a video about. The news broke about last week on the Rob Font Cody Garbrandt card. So I never got to really talk about this matchup. It's a great matchup. Kevin Lee's going up to welterweight. He didn't have a lot of good success when he went up to welterweight the first time against Rafael dos Anjos. But he's gonna go for it again against an elite prospect in Sean Brady, a kid that I'm very high on, a kid that's really, really good. And it's a really hard fight for Kevin. And I mean, props to Kevin Lee, man. Honestly, this kid literally does not take an easy fight. He could have taken so many easier fights than this. Honestly, real talk. Sean Brady as a prospect has been more impressive to me than the Fiziev kid. I know a lot of y'all love him, or Armin Sarukian. I mean, I am really high on Sean Brady. Even in my top 5 threats of welterweight, I put this kid in my top 5, man. I think this kid could do some real damage. He's undefeated. I'm not going to say he's looked impressive in every single fight, but man, this kid's good, man. This kid's very, very good. So, I mean, Kevin is a stud for taking this fight. But if we look at the stats, let's get to it. Sean Brady's 14-0. He's fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. At 28 years old. He has a height of 5'10" and a reach of 72.5. Kevin has a record of 18-6. He's fighting out of Vegas. He's not fighting at a TriStar no more in Canada. Age 28. A height of 5'9" and a reach of 75.5. So Kevin does have the reach advantage going into this matchup. I mean, that's good for Kevin. He's gonna need that reach advantage. But I mean, against a guy like Sean Brady, man, he is a problem, y'all. This kid is a problem. And Kevin, notoriously, man, he's pissed me off, but he hasn't used his reach to his full ability. And that's been Kevin's problem for a very, very long time. But like I was saying, if we talk about, notable wins for Sean Brady, man, he's beating Court McGee. He beat Christian Aguilera and just recently just destroyed Jake Matthews. Now, I've said it, he hasn't had the most impressive performances. Now, he submitted some of these guys, but he hasn't really, he's a very well balanced fighter. He doesn't knock everyone out. His striking isn't, very great, but what makes him really good and what reminds me of almost like a George St. Pierre is that he's good at everything. He's a very, very hard opponent to fight, and his jiu-jitsu and his submission game is very, very lethal. Against Jake Matthews, he had a lot of good things and a lot of bad things. In that fight against Jake, he did get dropped in the first round. I don't know if it was a slip or if it was a drop, but man, Jake's boxing looked really, really good. And that's the common thing him and Kevin Lee actually have in common, is that they both fought Jake Matthews. Now, Jake Matthews, obviously at welterweight, I mean, is a completely different fighter than what, Kevin Lee fought a while back. But Kevin Lee dismantled Jake Matthews and took him out of there in the first round. Sean Brady, he got touched up, but what made it really impressive for me, for Sean, is the way he was taking down Jake. Jake is at welterweight, obviously, and I mean, honestly, Jake has accomplished a lot of good things. Jake does have a win over Ji Lee Lang. He's a good fighter at welterweight. So respect to Jake Matthews, and to beat him at that weight class, and the way he beat him in that kid's prime, and I thought he was looking good all the way up till that moment. I mean, that's a good thing for a guy like Sean Brady. Yeah, I didn't like Jake's performance against Diego Sanchez, but that's a good thing that Sean Brady was able to submit him, and the way he did it, he submitted him unconscious, and the way he was able to get takedowns relentlessly, it looked easy against a legitimate guy, which is very, very scary for Kevin. Now Kevin, on the other hand, I mean, yeah, he's coming off a loss to a guy in Charles Oliveira, who is the lightweight champion of the world. He did really, really good in that fight. It's very debatable how you look at the rounds. Some people gave the first two rounds to Kevin. I'm more in the middle. I thought Oliveira at least won one of the rounds, maybe won the first round, but that round was really, really. It's hard. It's how you look at the ground control. But I gave the first round to Oliveira. I gave the second round to Lee, and obviously, Oliveira ended up finishing him in the third. So it really didn't really matter in terms of the scoring. But Kevin didn't do too bad in that fight. Kevin did way better than guys like Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, in my humble opinion. I know Chandler dropped Oliveira. I do know that, but I thought I thought Kevin had a better performance against Oliveira than Chandler. I know some people might not like that, but that's how I feel. Um, you know, like Oliveira was able to get Chandler on his back. Oliveira tried to take Kevin down, he wasn't able to do it. That's one little thing that I look at where I give it to the edge to Lee. Um, but yeah, man, Lee, he had his last performance against Oliveira. His last win was against Gregor Gillespie. Now that win has aged a little better. Gregor just went out there and dominated Diego Ferreira and finished him in the second round, something that Beneil Dariush couldn't do. So that looks really, really good. Lee has competed for an interim title against Tony Ferguson. I thought did really, really good until he gassed out. He has wins over Edson Barboza, who's killing it at featherweight right now. Just beat Shane Burgos. Kevin Lee has done a lot of good things. Also has a win over Michael Chiesa, who, in my humble opinion, I mean, has been doing phenomenal at welterweight and has been proving a lot of people wrong. A lot of people like to call Chiesa a bum, but he's out here just show stopping and showing why he can be great. He's showing y'all. He's showing y'all. He continues to show y'all, and y'all keep doubting him, and he's gonna keep proving y'all wrong. But unless he fights Colby Covington, where he will get smashed on, but that's besides the point. But I mean, Lee, he has spurts of greatness, and then he has moments like he had against Tony Ferguson in the third round, moments like he had against Rafael dos Anjos in the fourth round, and obviously the Charles Oliveira fight in the third round. The one fight I have not brought up, though, is the Ally Quinta fight. I actually thought when I first watched it, I actually picked Ally Quinta. I thought, that's when I really believed in my rematch rule. I truly believed if someone really won the first fight, they're going to win the second fight. I had a lot of faith in that, and I picked Al in that fight. This was before I made YouTube, obviously, but I did actually pick Ally Quinta in that fight. And when I watched it the first time, I was like, I thought Kevin Lee actually won the first three rounds. Now, the first round is very debatable. Al had a really great spinning back fist in that fight, but I actually thought Kevin was doing good in that first round. I actually gave the first round to Kevin Lee, and then I gave the next two to Lee, and then Al did, phenomenal work in the championship rounds and got him tired, but I didn't think Lee looked bad. I thought it was a great fight. It's a fun back and forth fight. Obviously, it's debatable. I can see some people giving the first round to Al. Some people might think I'm crazy that I gave the first round to Kevin Lee, but I thought Kevin did pretty good in that fight. I didn't think he did as bad as everyone likes to give him crap for, but that was a good fight, and Al was a really, really good matchup for Kevin. He's a really, really good anti-grappler. He has decent boxing. He has good cardio, so he's a good matchup for Kevin. And that's what it comes down to in this matchup. Has Kevin learned from the mistakes that he made against Ally Quinta, Rafael dos Anjos, and Tony Ferguson? And can Sean Brady take advantage of those old, flaws in Kevin Lee's game that has haunted him? And that's what it comes down to. One way I can see Sean Brady winning is basically what he did to Jake Matthews. Jake also, I think, had a reach advantage too. Just start the first round slow, trying to figure out the reach and the range, and then get the takedowns, or get the clinch situations, or get grappling situations where you get Kevin Lee tired. basically number one thing for Sean Brady is to get out the first round. Basically, I wouldn't even say give up the first round, but just try to get out of there and get to the second and get to the third and get Kevin tired and just put a pace on him. I don't know if we can take Kevin down, but Kevin at welterweight against Dos Anjos got taken down a lot. A lot of people forget that. He wasn't as. The good thing about Kevin is that at lightweight, he's so much stronger and explosive and bigger than these guys. Even though Kevin isn't the biggest guy, he's just strong, man. He's a strong kid. And he can just weigh on guys, right? He's not going to have that over Sean Brady. Sean Brady's built like a shit brick house. He's a little stocky, but he's fucking huge, man. He got big shoulders, big chest, big back. The kid is humongous. Trains with Eddie Alvarez, who's a champ, right? So for Sean, he's going to really try to get Kevin tired. And Sean, I like Sean Brady, man. He trains with, some really, really good boxers. So I think his striking is going to be good enough. He's had Jaron Ennis, Boots, a really, really good boxer in Philly. Whole pass for him. He has a good relationship with him. The kid is very, very good, man. I honestly think Sean Brady is going places. But my problem is I'm too much of a Kevin Lee fanboy to pick against Kevin right here. Kevin, he can really disappoint me sometimes, honestly. And the only time I've ever picked against Kevin was when he fought Al because of the first fight, right? I saw the first fight and I just knew Al had his number. But I like Kevin a lot, and Kevin's a good kid. And he has a lot of potential. His jab, if he developed a really Usman-like jab, he could be a problem because he has long arms, y'all. He has long arms, and the fact that he doesn't use it's insane. And the fact that he lets these little guys, these fucking midgets, get so close to his face it's crazy to me sometimes. But Kevin doesn't lose 3-rounders. That's one thing. I know he's lost a 3-rounder before. I'm not gonna say that, but it's been a minute since he's lost a 3-rounder. I think Kevin's longer. I think Kevin has to have learned from his Charles Oliveira fight. There was a lot of things he did bad in the striking that I didn't like. He wasn't able to, figure out his range. Oliveira, it was too easy for Oliveira to walk him down, throw the front kick in his face, throw the uppercut, and then cross combination to him. Just really beat him in the pocket up, back him up. Like, Kevin did a lot of things bad. Like, he didn't protect himself in certain situations when he was getting back down. Now, Kevin threw some shots to the body, and Kevin did some good things in that fight. I'm not gonna say he did bad things, but the striking was a problem. He didn't use his reach, and that's my biggest problem with Kevin. You got to use your reach. You got to use your arms, and he doesn't have a consistent jab out there. But hopefully, he's learned from that. If he uses his jab, he's fighting an undefeated kid, but he's fought someone that was undefeated before too, so he knows how to beat that in Gregory Gillespie. Really, what Kevin has to do is just be himself. He's an explosive monster, right? And he just has to take control. If it means you have to take control in the wrestling, then he has to take control in the wrestling. If he has to use his jab and figure this kid out and just sprawl and box this kid, then he's going to have to do that. But Kevin is just, to me, this might be his last chance, but I feel like Kevin, he's a good fighter. I truly believe Kevin's a good fighter. And he's very well-rounded. And he has more of a well-rounded game than Sean Brady. I saw Sean Brady get knocked down in the first round against Jake Matthews. I think he'll give Sean problems. I think the jab will be problems for Sean. And I also do think, I think the Kevin Lee we saw for RDA was a lightweight trying to just, not a lightweight, but what I'm trying to say is the Kevin Lee that we saw for RDA was a lightweight that was fighting in his walk-around weight. I feel like Kevin's going to make a smart adjustment to the weight class at welterweight. And I think we're going to see a real welterweight Kevin Lee. And I think he gets this done. I'm taking Kevin Lee by decision. I think Sean Brady's really, really tough. I don't think Sean's going to get finished so easily. I thought the same thing for Gregory Gillespie. I actually picked Kevin Lee by decision. But I think Kevin gets this done. Hopefully, obviously, I'm a big Kevin Lee fan. But I like the kid. The kid's a good kid. But, man, this is a hard fight for him. And if he can beat a kid like Sean Brady, man, he is in a real discussion. I mean, at that welterweight level. Like it'll really tell me where he's at. Cause Sean is good, man. Sean is a good fighter. So I got Kevin Lee taking this. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to follow me on my Twitter, on my Instagram. If you're new to the YouTube channel, obviously subscribe, like, comment, share the video. Go click that notification button. Let's get this eBay Fight Prediction Nation growing. Love y'all and goodbye.
Yeah. The one thing my question was when he had you in that 100%, when he DDT'd you, how did that make you feel? How did that wake you up, or were you just like okay, or did it hurt, or what was going on in your head as soon as you guys slammed on the mat?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. I don't even know what a DDT is. I think that's a WWE move.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm the one that lifted him in the air, so I don't see how he's slamming me if I got him on my shoulder. You know, I mean, can we put a real journalist on?